Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 6th of March, 2024. Coming up on this Wednesday Rage. That's right, to make do for last night's missing. We're going to talk about the whole woke for Ukraine, more policies that our prime minister is giving to the Ukrainian people, pay raises come out the 1st of April, and more slack security in regards to the whole Winnipeg Lab issue. Oh my goodness, tisk, tisk, tisk. All that more coming up on this episode of the Wednesday Rage, the CRUSTY podcast. Listener review discretion is advised because I might swear and I might smoke cigarettes and I just might make some funny faces and offend some people. Anyhow, stick around.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the CRUSTY CANUCK podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's CRUSTY.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wednesday Rage, making do for missing last night's episode of the Tuesday Rant. Had some extra chores to do, but if you like and hear to see, please click like and subscribe. Share this podcast all over your social media platforms. If you feel like donating, please donate, and please double check your subscription just in case the people at the tube decide to get rid of your subscription. Anyhow, I am your host, CRUSTY CANUCK. Welcome all. Sorry, like I say, sorry for missing last night for the Tuesday Rant. Anyway, I call this Wednesday Rage. Like I say, pay attention to my community page and my Facebook page in regards to updates on this podcast. So as the title says, ladies and gentlemen, Wednesday Rage. So I'm just raging. I got a video here from Lorne Gunter in regards to woke policies for the Trudeau government and what they want to do with the free trade agreement with Ukraine, supposedly for after the war, it's, thinking ahead. Pay raises come from our MPs. And of course, carbon tax is going up on the 1st of April. Oh, joy. Thank you. And of course, slack security in the name of the Wuhan and the Winnipeg Lab issue prior to the pandemic. So some interesting details coming out of that too. I got an interesting video from Brian Lilly there from The Sun as well in regards to how the NDP and the Liberals are in cahoots, trying to keep things quiet. If you want some more information on the Wuhan issue, the lab issue, my friends at Northern Perspective, Cypher and Fox, have done some great work in putting videos together for that too. So I'll leave a link to the latest video in regards to the whole in committee and how Miss Ikra Khalid, the MP, one of the MPs that was the forerunners for the bill M103, the bill that would forbid anybody for being Islamophobic, for speaking out against it. I don't know if it passed. I doubt it passed, but there was quite a bit of a vote for it back in the day between 2016 and 2018, ladies and gentlemen. So pay attention to that. But there's a lot of conspiracies going on in regards to who knew what and who didn't know what. But anyway, I'm kind of digressing here. I've had a busy couple of days, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, if you like to hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Double check your subscription too on the tube, just in case you've been punted off or something. I believe there is some shadow banning going around, so just double check your subscription. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and share this content all over your social media platforms too. If you like and hear what you see, don't forget to donate if you can too. Every little bit helps, ladies and gentlemen. Every little bit helps. Anyway, carrying on. Rage for this Wednesday, woke for Ukraine. So I guess part of the free trade agreement that the federal government has with the people of Ukraine is that if they have mine clearance, suppose whenever they have mine clearance, that it's on gender parity, meaning that everybody gets a chance to do it. I'm sorry, but if I have to delegate people to clear mines, I personally don't care how they identify or how they feel. If they're qualified to do it, then they got the job. It's that simple, But Lorne Gunter has a video he put together the other day. And I'll let you decide, ladies and gentlemen. I just, oh, sweet F. Oh. Basically, it's titled Trudeau Gets Woke with the with Ukrainian people in regards to mine clearance, all these little rules and stuff, to help people, get ahead in today's world. And We can't even go to war without people worrying about gender inclusivity. We got to be inclusive. Even when it comes to clearing ordnance, things that go boom in the night, we got to be inclusive. Make sure there's enough trannies there, enough person here, and people identify as this to make sure the job's done right. Anyway, you, my wonderful audience, you decide. You decide exactly what should be done. Adjust your audio accordingly. I've had some audio issues the past couple of days. So, like I say, you decide, folks.
Still remain expecting their government to do everything that's necessary for Ukraine. And that's why, for example, we just signed a 10-year security assurance deal with Ukraine.
On the second anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kiev and pledged $3 billion in Canadian aid this year. That's pretty good. I have to hand it to the Liberals to put that much money up for Ukrainian aid. The West cannot abandon Ukraine, even though we're kind of losing interest in this war. This war isn't over quickly. The Ukrainians aren't winning decisively enough. And so an awful lot of people in the West have sort of yawned and moved on mentally. We can't do that. Russian President Vladimir Putin is a thug. If he gets his way in Ukraine, he'll try his way in other countries in Eastern Europe. And then if he gets his way there, he'll work on the West. So it's imperative that Western countries like Canada maintain their aid. And while we can't do an awful lot militarily for Ukraine, we can help them with food security. We can help them bring in food. We can help them restore their crops in their own fields. We can help them rebuild communities. There's lots of things we can do. I think one of the best things we're doing is we're attaching CSIS agents to the Ukrainian and American efforts to track Ukrainian nuclear material so that the Russians and their terrorist allies don't get their hands on them and start making bombs. I think all those things are good. But some of the strings that we have attached to Ukrainian aid just baffle me. For instance, they have to decarbonize their economy. So the same obsession that the Liberals have here with net zero power grids and EV mandates and carbon taxes, the Ukrainians have to agree to those if they're going to get some of our money. My favorite one, though, is that they have to have gender neutral demining squadrons. So the people who go around taking landmines out that the Russians have put down all over Ukraine, tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of landmines have been laid. But we have to have gender neutral demining squads before we're going to give money to Ukraine to demining is one of the most important things that they can do to restore their communities. Mines blow up when farmers step on them. They blow up when children walk down the road. They blow up all sorts of innocent people. It's one of the best efforts you can make to return your country to safety, to take out the mines. But we don't care about that as much as we care about the fact that there are equal numbers of men and women on the demining squad. Like, who even thinks that up? Who sits at Global Affairs Canada or at the Department of National Defense and says, oh my goodness, the demining squads in Ukraine or the demining squads in Bahrain or the demining squads wherever in the world don't have enough women in them. They're not gender neutral. Oh my goodness, they don't have enough LGBTQ members. That's not the point. In Ukraine, you have got to get those mines out as quickly as possible. Sure, do you want to have rules that are discriminatory against women joining the demining brigades? No, of course not. But no one has accused the Ukraine of having those sorts of rules. So this is just one of those cases where the virtue signaling by the Trudeau government, the woke progressive mentality of the Trudeau government, has trumped everything useful. We see it here in Canada again and again. The economy is slowing to a crawl because we have to be woke. The justice system is falling apart because we have to be woke. And now our aid to Ukraine is attached to the same woke progressive values that the Trudeau government is inflicting on Canadians. For Post Media, I'm Lauren Gunter.
Yeah, that's pretty well self-explanatory. You know, how else do I say it? Everything's got to be woke, even when you're trying to clean up and help a country out after a devastating war. Just make sure you got the parity there so everyone's happy, because we're very, very inclusive and progressive. Yeah, what a fucking joke, honestly.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wednesday Rage with Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 6th of March, 2024. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. And before I forget, this podcast is supported and brought to you in part by the Veterans for Freedom Network, Stand 2, Veterans for Freedom, and coming soon, Veterans for Freedom TV. That's right. Yours truly will be on that with some fine other veterans too in this conglomerate that we are doing to fight for freedom of speech while we still can, all that other good stuff. So please stay tuned for that. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, and welcome back, everybody. Like I said, I apologize yesterday for not getting an episode up to you all in a timely manner. I had some extra chores to do, and this microphone is really starting to annoy me here. I had it set earlier. I don't know where it is. Maybe there's some spooky monsters in here, some ghosts. I don't know. No, it's just government. Yeah, of course. I'll blame the government. When in doubt, blame the government. Anyway, like I said, this is Wednesday Rage, Woke for Ukraine. So you see what's going on here. Not only do we give how many billions away, we compromise our military, and of course the powers that be in Ottawa, they want to add more woke identity to it. So do they really care? No, they don't. These guys don't really care about us. They don't care about them. They just care about toting their own virtue, right? Which brings me to my next part of this episode too, the pay raise. Now, I've mentioned this before in a few episodes back, effective April 1st, of this year. Carbon tax goes up, I think, another 17 cents. Right? And most gas and gasoline, it goes up 21 cents, I believe, for diesel, and it goes up a few more points when it comes to home heating. Okay. Now get this though. While that goes up, so does the pay of the MPs. All right. So I put a summary up there before in one of my other episodes, but I'll just basically do in layman's terms here. A sitting MP, a backbencher, someone who is elected, who just sits in Parliament, nods their head like this and does that and gets up and ha, 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 Mr. Speaker, ha, 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 ha. Well, they get a base salary right now of $193,000, I believe. Effective April 1st, that jumps up to $202,000, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So that's about $8,000 a raise. $8,000, $8,500, $9,000, whatever, give or take the other perks and slaps and tickles that come your way. That's what they get. Okay. Now, ministers and shadow ministers, they will be receiving roughly, I think, $289,000 or $299,000. Okay. That's what they go up to. So they go up about another 10 grand, roughly 9,000 to 10 grand. Okay. And our beloved sock puppet prime minister, he goes up to about 4.5. So $450,000 to do a mediocre job. So while they get these pay raises, you and I struggle. Okay. Liquor is going up again, about another 4.7 cents, right? So another 5 cents in taxes. Every time you buy a beer, every time you buy a shot, every time you buy a glass of wine, anything your heart desires after a long day, another bloody tax is looming over the horizon. Meanwhile, the MPs are sitting there in Ottawa getting a few bucks ahead. What's that tell you about priorities in this country? Now, it doesn't matter if you sit in the Liberal bench, doesn't matter if you sit in the Conservative bench, the NDP, the Bloc, Independent, it doesn't effing matter. Okay? And I've actually written some emails to some of these MPs, basically sending them a question mark. What are you doing? If you have the audacity to sit there and talk about the working class in this country and you want to stand up for the working class in this country, why the fuck are you taking a raise? Huh? Why are you taking a raise? Why? Right? Tell you a little story there, ladies and gentlemen. My wife and I just had a shell at about maybe $5,000. Our furnace quit on us. Hey. So what money I had saved away, what money my wife had saved away, plus credit cards to pay for this frickin' furnace, because it happens, okay? You know, it happens. Shit happens. It does. And I've been receiving mail from the CRA in regards to back taxes, or what they like to say, reassessments, because they can't do the fucking math. Okay? So while they're counting the pennies of people like me and you that have to keep paying and paying and paying and paying, and another 17 cents effective April 1st, and another 5 cents effective April 1st, if I want to have a beer or not, okay, those bastards in Ottawa are sitting there collecting more money to sit and hobgobble and slap and tickle each other to say a job well done or a job not well done, right? So I would like to see an MP, if there's anybody watching this right now, if I'm ever so lucky to have an actual government member watching this podcast, I want you to have the guts, sir or madam, to weigh in and justify this raise. And if you do try to justify it, I would like to see some honor behind that, where you actually give a good chunk of that to a food bank or to somebody who needs it, or a group of people that need it in your effing riding. Okay? Because that works out to about maybe $15,000 to $20,000 a month. Okay? When you get 6 weeks off at Christmas, almost 8 weeks off in the summer. Right? To do what? Oh, 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Self-congratulate yourself on showing up to work while there are Canadians in this country struggling. Like, what annoys me is that you've had raises since 2020. A couple of good raises during the pandemic, right? And people are still struggling, right? And now we also got a federal government that's breathing down the necks of Saskatchewan and Alberta in regards to the carbon tax, right? Oh, how dare you not pay this tax? How dare you? How dare you? Self-explanatory. They don't want to pay the bloody tax because they know it's going to line your pockets. So I would like to see some of you bastards get really, really fucking humbled and understand what it's like to struggle every effing day. Like I say, you got to earn it, right? Too bad some of you fuckers haven't.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to the wonderful Wednesday Rage with Crusty Canuck, episode 265. If you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content all over your social media platforms. Please consider donating too. Every little penny helps too. Please check out my shop. All the necessary information is in my description, where you want to donate, where you can subscribe. And if you want to send me an email, send some kind words or send some comments, please do. The more, the merrier. Help the algorithm. Let's keep free speech alive while it's still legal, ladies and gentlemen, because Bill C-63 is just around the corner now. It's been tabled and it hasn't been actioned yet, but you've heard me rant and rage about that whole thing. And they say it protects kids. It's not protect kids. It's about to stifle freedom of speech and what certain powers that be might say hate speech, right? Basically a board of people that are selected by the government to dictate what I say, what you say, what they say. Anyway, it's censorship, ladies and gentlemen. It's groupthink. It's Ministry of Truth kind of stuff. And if you read the book 1984, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's fight that too. So keep freedom of speech alive by promoting my work, your work, anybody else's work. Anytime you see something Canadian out there, promote it, share it someplace, whatever page you want. You can also find my podcast on Podbean, Rumble, Spotify, Amazon, Supercast, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, and Apple, and anywhere else you might find podcasts. Look for the Crusty Podcast and subscribe and comment today, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, carrying on again with this Wednesday Rage. Sorry, I'm messing around my microphone stand here. It's not staying where I want it to stay, god damn it. Anyhow, excuse me. So we already talked about Woke for Ukraine and pay raises that are coming up. You know, of course, more taxes. More taxes mean more money for them, and of course, lack security. Now, here's a video from Brian Lilly, who basically talks about the whole NDP and Liberal conglomerate in regards to the whole Winnipeg Lab issue. And this was brought up a few years back too, but of course, liberals just brushed under the rug because, oh, nothing to see here. Typical liberal send-off when it comes to responsibility. I don't think these people can lead a crap to a toilet, if you ask me. But I'll cue this up from Brian Lilly from Sun Media there too. And you decide, folks, my wonderful fans out there, you guys decide, think for yourselves. Let's keep doing that while it's still legal too, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully. I don't want to step on anyone's toes or someone get offended because I say think for yourself, because, the nouveau science out there tries to tell us otherwise. But like I say, here's Brian Lilly with his take on the whole, what he calls the axis of weasels, thwarts Winnipeg Microbiology Lab investigation. So the Liberals and the NDP in cahoots together shut down the investigation because, they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, which is bullshit. They just all want to save face and save their jobs. But like I say, ladies and gentlemen, you decide. You decide, my wonderful people.
Weasels stopped further investigation of the Winnipeg Lab. Hi, I'm Brian Lilly, political columnist for the Toronto Sun. We finally have the documents from the Winnipeg Lab, the issue that MPs fought months and months, years actually, to try and get these documents. And they raise more questions, which is why Conservative MP Michael Chong went to the Access to Information and Ethics Committee and said, let's have a further study on this. Let's look into why this happened and how things went through. His colleagues in the NDP and the Liberals, they said no. The Liberals obviously don't want this out there, but they don't want further investigation because as a committee of MPs found who were charged with reviewing these documents and deciding what could be released, the committee of MPs found that there was no national security threat in releasing them. It was a humiliation threat, that these documents being public would embarrass the government for how badly they handled the issue. And then once they're released, what did the Liberals do? They go back to their old ways of trying to block the public finding out more. That's not shocking. But the NDP, they decided to join them. They don't need to. Remember their supply and confidence agreement, their coalition agreement. It said right in there that yes, they wanted to fight for pharmacare, which they claim they just got, but they didn't. They got birth control and some diabetes medications. But it said right in there that it was still important for the NDP to hold the government to account and that they would do that outside of the parameters of their agreement. They're not doing it. They have fully formed into what Warren Kinsella rightly termed at the time an axis of weasels. They are being absolute weasels here in helping the Liberals cover up their embarrassing mess. Canadians deserve to know more. We had two scientists at our top biolab, our level 4 biolab, working with the People's Republic of China, the military of the People's Republic of China, shipping samples of Ebola and Hanapa viruses over to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. We've got security breaches and we need to know more. And we need to know why the government was covering it up. So asking more questions is not a bad thing. And parliamentary committees is where that work is supposed to be done. The only reason that the NDP is doing this is because the Liberals are pressuring them to be actually part of a coalition. The coalition known as the Axis of Weasels. It's sickening, it's disgusting, and the NDP is going to pay a price for this whenever voters get a chance to cast their ballots again. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below, share this on social media, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, another self-explanatory editorial there from Brian Lilly. Right, these people were voted in. Jagmeet Singh, his NDPers, Justin Trudeau, and his what's left of his liberal loyalty. Okay, now I like to remind you all, liberalism is basically an offshoot of liberty. Okay, you do you, I do me, everything's fine. NDP was brought in because they actually wanted to protect working class Canadians that actually moved and shook this country prior to World War II and up until roughly about the 1980s. Then now the NDP brand thereafter has turned into something dreadful, right? So is a liberal brand, ladies and gentlemen. I grew up in a very, very, I guess you can say, a liberal-like household. And I have been very, very liberal like most of my natural life. I did vote conservative in a couple elections. And I also voted for myself in the last election because I was a member, still am a member of the Veterans Coalition Party. And we stand for liberty too, proper liberty, meaning you do your thing. I don't care how you do it. Just don't hit people, take your stuff. Now, what Mr. Lilly just presented to you was a bunch of people that want to cover their tracks because they're getting paid. How else do you explain it? Why the security? Why the Chinese influence? Why members of the Communist Party and the People's Republic Army of China working in a lab in Canada? Now, why do they want to cover it up? Right? They did the same thing with the Emergencies Act back in 2022. Did the same thing with the SNC-Lavalin. Did the same thing when it came to firing Jody Wilson-Raybould, covering the SNC-Lavalin BS. Every little payout they've given, right? Miss McKenna hasn't said where all that money went to when she was the infrastructure minister, right? She was so upset because someone sprayed painted CUNT on her conglomerate office. Oh my goodness, the hurt feelings everywhere. Maybe she was an advocate too for the online hate bill. I know Karina Gold was. She was one of the founders of it next to Stephen Guilbeault, Mr. Greenpeace, Mr. Proud Socialist, Mr. Eco-Terrorist himself, who was so disappointed in Saskatchewan as well for not taking carbon taxes, right? I find it amazing how these individuals think it's so immoral that we don't pay more money to them, right? So immoral that we don't do these wonderful things in saving the planet. Since when is it Canada's responsibility to save the planet? I didn't realize the planet was in danger. What about you? Did you realize the planet was in danger? Is it flat? That's another story. Crack don't smoke itself there. Do you see my point here? The constant bantering back and forth. Oh my God, it's not my fault. It's their fault. Oh, it's not hers fault. It's her fault. Oh, it's his fault. It's their fault. They're all fucked up. My invitation is still open out there. If there's any politician that happens to be watching this podcast to engage with me to try to justify your pay raise, honestly, send me an email. My contact information is in my description. I want to see a federal MP. I don't care who you are. I don't care what party you're in. I don't care if you're independent. I don't care if you sleep with men. I don't care if you sleep with women. I don't care if you eat fried food. I don't care if you have your supper through a straw. I don't care what you do in your own personal time. I want you to come online and talk to me and justify this raise. Honestly, there's a challenge open up there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this podcast, please share this around. And if anybody who watches this podcast knows an MP, send him this video, send him this podcast. I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're NDP. I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're Les Blocs. I don't care what you represent, right? Not the party, not the person, but the constituents and the country. Get it? Get it? As I point to this flag, do you understand that? Do you comprehend that? Right? So, invitations out there. And I'll say this again, just in case someone missed it. Okay? I challenge you to a debate, and I want you to justify to me, to do your best, why you deserve this raise. I don't care if you're a minister. I don't care if you're a shadow minister. I don't care if you're a backbencher. I don't care if you deliver shoes. I don't care what you do. What I want is you to give us the dialogue we fucking deserve. Anyway, I have been CRUSTY CANUCK on this beautiful 6th of March, 2024, ladies and gentlemen. I will be around this Saturday to do another podcast for you all there too. Stay tuned for updates. Like I said, I'm going to try to do more episodes at least 3 times a week. I'm going to probably do a new title, whatever. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet, but please stay tuned to that, ladies and gentlemen. Look for updates on my community page and my Facebook page, respectively. And if you feel like donating, please donate. Every little bit helps too. Like I said, we just got our furnace installed. It is paid for, but it set us back a while. So if you want to donate, please donate. I'm not going to demand cash. I'm not going to sit here and demand like some other streamers out there. But I put some work into this podcast, some thoughts, some dedication, and I'm thankful for the subscribers I do have, but every little bit helps too. So if you feel like donating $5 a month, $10 a month, please consider that too. And just do what you can, and I'll keep making some great content for you all out there. Like I said, I've been CRUSTY CANUCK on this beautiful 6th of March, 2024. I wish good things for you too. The cold snap is starting to die out, but don't get cocky, ladies and gentlemen, especially my fan base in this area. Keep your vehicles plugged in, keep your battery charged. Make sure you get enough adequate gasoline to get you to and from work, and don't buy the BS. Carry on, do the best you can with what you got. Look after your friends and loved ones, help each other out in these trying times, and let's try to find light in this manufactured darkness. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll probably see you this Saturday. Okay, bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the CRUSTY CANUCK podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the CRUSTY CANUCK podcast.
Spank me some more. I love them taxes. More. Oh, more. Please. More.